Hi to everyone and welcome to the second part of the cell structure related to the cell biology course. Let's continue, our journey, our travel into the cell structure, and in particular today we are going to focus our attention on the cell structure of the prokaryotic. If you remember, in the previous video I've already showed you the main differences between eukaryotics and prokaryotics. Here, today, we are going to have a look about more details regarding the prokaryotic cell. So, by definition, a prokaryotic cell, remember that the name comes from the ancient Latin, from pro, that means fourth, and karyon, that means nucleus. And as I told you last time, are cells who lack of a membrane-enclosed nucleus, as we can see here. Here we can see again a common prokaryotic cell structure, which is typical of bacteria, so also bacterial cell anatomy. And again, is a single scolic organism, consists of prokaryotic cells are classified generally into groups, archaea and bacteria. So the common structure is the same. A general example is a bacteria. And what we can see here, we are going to see into more detail in the next slide, but just keep in mind that is a very easy structure. Okay, there is presence of plasma membrane, presence of cytoplasm or cytosol, of course, presence of genetic material such as DNA, but there are not many organelles. And generally, prokaryotics are unicellular. When the word unicellular means a composite made of just one cell, and are organisms that lack a membrane-bounding structure, like for example the nucleus. The absence of nucleus is very evident and prominent in this picture when we can see all the genetic material here, so it's not enclosed into a nucleus. In general, all the prokaryotic cells, like bacteria for example, tend to be small, simple cell. The measure is around 0.1, 0. Maximum 5 micrometer in diameter. So generally they are of course not visible at naked eye. Now let's focus more on the cell structure and just analyze together the prokaryotic cell characteristics of prokaryotic cell features. There is presence of nucleoid, and nucleoid is a central region of the cell that contains the DNA. So this region inside the prokaryotic cell is called nucleoid. We can also identify the other small organelles, they so-called ribosomes. This one, these red dots here. This one, there are presence of ribosomes, that they are the such organelles responsible for the protein synthesis. When I say protein synthesis, means protein production. So they are responsible for the production of proteins. And then there is the presence of the cell wall, which is this one. Okay, the cell wall provides structure and protection from the outside environment. Most bacteria have a generally rigid cell, well made of carbohydrates, basically as sugars, and protein that is called peptidoglycans. So again, what I like of this picture and what is maybe the general concept of biology, that every kind of definition, as we can see, for example, nucleoid, ribosome, cell wall, can be easily found if we are gonna have a look to the image, to the photo itself. Okay, so it's a kind of suggestion from my side when you study biology or when you study science in general. Just have a look to the image. And as I showed you here before, so after the definition, nucleoid central region of the cell that contain the DNA, we can immediately easily found it here inside. Other characteristics, prominent characteristics are, for example, presence of capsule, which is this one. So it's outside the cell wall. Some bacteria have a layer of carbohydrate that surrounds the cell wall, called the capsule. The capsule helps the bacteria to attach to the surface. Generally, the attachment is also made up due to the presence of this pilus, so this green structure. And another feature characteristic typical of the bacteria are these fimbriae. Fibrils are thin, hair-like structures that help with cellular attachment. Okay, so generally also think about that bacteria can be attached also to the eukaryotic cell, and in order to be attached, they need specific features, specific characteristics, which can be found, for example, in the presence of the capsule and the presence also of these fibria. Another important characteristic, for example, can be the pili. The pili are rod-shaped structure involved with the multiple loops, including, for example, attachment and the DNA transfer. And of course, this is one of the main cell feature is the flagella. These are a tail-like structure. So this one is, there are two here, so that's why it's plural, flagellae. Flagella are a tail-like structure that assist the movement, so they allow the bacteria to move, basically. And again, so the concept that I gave you before, we can always read the definition, but it's even more important when we easily identify this kind of structure just by observing the images, the image. How are prokaryotics involved in our daily life? So, well, prokaryotics generally produce or process nutrients in the digestive tracts of human and other animals. They are generally used in the production of some foods and also have been recruited for the degradation of hazardous material, maybe something that we are going to see during our ecology course. Generally, human uses of prokaryotics can be, like, for example, for the production of yogurt, sauerkraut, or meat, buttermilk. They can also be used, for example, for digest petroleum and remove human-made waste from water. And many of prokaryotics can also use for synthesize, for example, drugs and chemicals. When I say synthesize, means for the production itself of drugs and chemicals. And also we remember that our life would not be possible without prokaryotics. Prokaryotics are everywhere, and they are everywhere, and our life would not be possible without them. And now again, it's time for you for an activity. Try to answer to the following questions. So, which are the features of prokaryotic cell? Just summarize it. And also, can you please describe with which kind of prokaryotic cell are you in touch almost every day? You can also make a brief research about the topic and write an essay. Hope that you enjoyed the video. Good luck.